Appearing at the Improv all weekend long, along with our buddy Sean Collier here, Brad Williams. 2 shows tonight and 2 tomorrow, and he's live in studio with us right now on DVE. Dude, it's good to see you again. Welcome back to the Berg. And you made a huge impression the last time you were here.
I did?
Yeah.
Was that a good thing?
That was a good thing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. As a dwarf little person of short stature, of which I am, and when I say dwarf, some people are like, "Oh, so you're like 5'2"? I understand. I'm 5'3". No. I would do horrible things behind a dumpster to be 5'2". Okay, shut up. 4'4". Okay, 4'4". But as a dwarf, you do leave an impression. Like no matter what I do, it's like that's a lot of times people's first reaction and like ever to seeing a dwarf. So it's like whatever I do, they think like that's the standard of all little people.
Right.
So if I'm like having sex with a girl and I give her like a Macho Man elbow drop, like then she goes like, well, dwarfs give Macho Man elbow drops. I guess that's their thing. I guess that's how they do it. Yeah, that's what we do. I can't finish unless I say, oh yeah, you know what I mean? That's me right there. Well, I'm glad I left an impression. The last time I was here, actually, I did an interview, and there was a porn star in with the morning show team named Daisy Marie, and then she invited me to go watch her dance at one of these clubs, and I go to dance, and this is how
you went to see her. Was she a Blush probably or cheerleaders?
Cheerleaders,
okay.
yeah. That's where she was, and then that's when I learned something. Because there's a porn star on stage at the strip club dancing naked. There's a bunch of other naked girls. I walk in. All eyes go to me. So midget trumps boobs. Like that's how you know that you're kind of weird looking is when you walk into and there's just boobs everywhere, and perfect boobs, by the way, ridiculously awesome boobs. They said yeah, boobs, whatever. What's this? Like what's this tiny thing walking in right here? That was sort of a wake up call for me.
Well, you know, my friend Sean, who worked down at Casey's, was a little person, and he used to tell me that he did really well with the ladies.
Yeah.
Because there was a curiosity factor. He was a pretty charming fella like
God,
yourself.
I love that curiosity. I love it. See, here's the thing. When many comedians are on stage, and our buddy over here can attest to this, people just they look and say, well, there's a comedian on stage. I hope he makes me laugh. When I walk on stage, there's women in the audience that are thinking bucket list. Like that's happening tonight. And that's just good. And that everybody wins.
Right.
You know, they get to check something off. They get and by the way, if you do engage in such actions with a little person, your story wins on Monday. Okay? Like no matter what your friends did on their weekend, they're like, we had a nice time. We went out to a steakhouse. Andrew McCutcheon was there, and everyone was having a good. He took a breadstick and started hitting crab cakes at people. It was it was unbelievable. You just say, yeah, I banged an Oompa Loompa. What? Now all the attention's on you.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So come on out if you have that woman that you hate in your office that is always doing something awesome and she's got the great stories every week. You want to trump her? Come on out. Bang an elf. Make this happen. You win, okay? And that story's gonna win for a while. That story's got legs. Well, I barely do, but the story has legs. All right.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. By the way, to all your listeners, I am 100 followers away from having 28,000 Twitter followers. So follow me on Twitter @FunnyBrad.
Funny Brad.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow Funny Brad. And here's what it's great in watching you since I first met you when you came here. I want to say it was a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then watching your career since then, Dude, you are dealing aces.
Yeah.
I mean, good stuff is happening for you all over the place. I'm just watching you get one fat gig after another.
Yeah, this weekend, this Saturday night, I'll be on Comedy Central on Dave Attell's show, like Comedy Underground. I got to shoot that with very talented comedians Pete Davidson, Ari Shaffir, and Amy Schumer, who is who is awesome. And then also later this year, I'm on 3 episodes of the TV show Legit on FXX. That's Jim Jeffries' show. Which
how do you get along with Jim?
I love Jim.
Yeah, because I find that
guy.
there are guys who get what he does, and there are people who don't get what he does.
Jim Jeffries is a damn genius, and Legit is one of the best shows on television, period. It's so funny.
Well, he lived with our buddy Eddie If. They were roommates for a
long
time. Eddie's from Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Eddie is from Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I've been in that house now. I know I'm going to use a term that a lot of people don't like, but they actually called their house the rape cottage. Okay? They did, and that's just the kind of guy that Jim is.
Right.
Now, is that actually going down in there? No. But that's just what they did.
No, that is a perfect illustration of the abrasiveness of Jeffries.
Yes, absolutely. Now, here's what I love about Jeffries. He had a kid recently. He had a baby. And when a guy names his place the Rape Cottage and then has a baby, as comics, we were very concerned for him and the baby, obviously.
Right.
So we're talking to Jim, and we say, Jim, like, you know, you're a crazy delinquent, like, and now you have a baby, like, how is that gonna work? How are you gonna be a father? And he looks at us, and Jim's Australian, and he goes, well, here's how I look at it, Brad, you're my friend, and you haven't died around me. So pretty much, Jim thinks that if you can take care of a midget, you can take care of a baby. So when I heard that, I thought to myself, you know what? What are they doing in high schools now? Giving kids an egg and saying watch an egg? That's not like you put the egg in the freezer, you're good.
Right.
No. Give them a midget. Give kids a midget and feed me a lot of beer, and no one's gonna want no one's gonna ever want to get pregnant. Right. Okay, no one ever. Like, you deal with me for a weekend after like 2 shots of Jack Daniels, and I say 2 shots, I am a lightweight. All right, I have a podcast called About Last Night, and my nickname on that podcast is 2 Beer Brad, and that is true. And if it's PBR, I'm like, all right, you give me half a shot of NyQuil, I am gone. All right. So I'm a light drinker. So send some shots up to me when you come see me at the Improv this weekend, and you will see the quality of your show change dramatically.
All right, so let me take a quick break here. You got time to stick around?
Yeah, I got time.
We got more with Brad Williams. Don't forget, Brad's at the Improv this weekend. Sean Collier is on the bill. 412-462.
Sean's very funny. I saw him for the first time last night. Very funny.
Right?
Very funny guy.
412-462-5233, or go to improv.com. Get your tickets. Make sure you catch Brad Williams this weekend at the Improv. Like I said, man, he's skyrocketing, and I don't know if he'll be playing that room again next time he comes through. So see him while you can this weekend. Randy Bauman and the DVE Morning Show. Bill Crawford, Val Porter, Sean Collier hanging out here, and Sean Collier's at the Improv this week with our guest headliner Brad Williams.
That's
and
me.
You can go see Brad. 2 shows tonight, 2 tomorrow. 412-462-5233 or improv.com. Go check them out. And, what's interesting is you've got a really good sense of walking into a room and make everybody laugh. And I'm guessing you've probably been doing that since you were about a teenager.
Yeah, I like that you were about to say you've been doing that since you were little. Oh wait. Yeah, it's always awkward when I run into people that like knew me as a kid, and they're just like, I knew you when you were, and then they're like trying to go on their hip, and then they realize like about the same height as you are right now. Like, you never really got out of that, did you? No, I didn't. Yeah, well, like, and the thing is if you're a little person and you walk into a room, you immediately have everyone's attention. So, yeah, I kind of got to be funny, and I have been doing that my whole life because that was sort of how my dad raised me. Now, when I say
he must be a funny guy.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, I'm going to tell the story about my dad real quick, and then I'll get into that story. I became an uncle about 12 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
And thank you, man. I mean, yeah, I didn't do any work. Some dude boned my sister. They did everything. So little Liam is born. His name's Liam, and they hand him to me about an hour and a half, 2 hours after he's born, and I'm having this crazy moment, and I know it's cheesy, but it's absolutely true. But like, you don't know what love is until you hold a child of your family. Like, you don't know. So I'm like, holy crap, this is this emotion, the most powerful emotion in the human existence. This is what this is. I'm having this realization, and my dad from the back of the room yells out, he's gonna be wearing your clothes in like 2 weeks. And it's like, good one, Pops. So yeah, that's my dad. So when when I was being brought up, and my dad's not a dwarf, by the way. Don't think that like dwarves are like gremlins and you get like a dwarf wet and like 4 others pop out or something like that. Like, no, wait, tall people can have us. So my dad, his philosophy was, listen, my son's gonna be made fun of a lot because of his size. I'm gonna make fun of him first, and I'm gonna teach him how to come back. And he would make fun of me, but in a very supportive manner. Be like, all right, he hit me with a short joke. Now, son, hit me back with something. Hit me, get me to. So by the time I got to even kindergarten, I was ready. I was walking like RoboCop, and these were just common thugs. You know what I mean? I was just taking them out. Like, it was awesome. And so now, and I kind of feel like that if I ever get a heckler, because if I ever get a heckler, I'm like, dude, don't. You're going to bat with a Navy SEAL right now.
Right.
Don't. I've been training at this my whole life. People have stared at me and made comments my whole life. You think you're gonna mess with me? There was one and this is even when I was a kid. I was in junior high, and we got to go on a trip to London, and we're in the airport, and this one dude sees me, and he just starts freaking out. He's like a Middle Eastern guy. He goes, "Oh my gosh, it's a demon! Get away from me, you little demon!" And I've been called a lot of stuff before. Demon was never on the damn list. And I have all these teachers and students around me that are now freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, they just called Brad a demon. Is he gonna cry? Look, what's gonna happen?" No, I chased after this guy. I just started. Oh my god, it was so much fun because I'm chasing a Middle Eastern guy through the airport, and when a Middle Eastern guy is running through the airport, they tackle him fast. He's running through the airport demon. They're like, we gotta take him out. And they tackled him, and he's like, no, he's right over there, the demon. And I just sulk back into the shadows, and they're like, there's no one there. The guy's crazy. Tase him. Done. It was awesome. That's who you're messing with if you heckle me. I watched a man get tasered falsely because of me, and I laughed.
Oh, that's gratifying.
It is.
It's got to be gratifying.
Yeah.
So by the time you got to high school, you have just a quiver full of arrows for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. I remember my cousin tried to heckle me one time because he thought, oh, we're family. It'll be fun. I'll impress my date. I'll heckle him. No. I tore him up. I told this story about when he was a kid, and he was 5, and he was running around a family reunion naked, and except for a piece of toilet paper coming out of his butt that he put there, and his dad's all ashamed. He's like, "Son, what are you doing?" And my cousin announced the entire family, "Look, Daddy, I'm a kite." And I announced that to this audience, and they're all freaking out. So I'm like, "Please toast my cousin Tyler the Kite Williams." And and he had a bunch of coworkers with him, and that to this day call him the Kite.
Yeah.
And I just think that's funny as hell. And that's what he did. That's what you get.
Was there any point that when you started to do comedy? Mm-hmm. You can't not acknowledge it. The first time I met Ralphie years ago.
Ralphie May?
Yeah. He was much bigger than he was now, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And he didn't do, and this is before he hooked up with Jay, and he didn't do anything on his weight. And he came on the radio show, so there was nothing to sort of distinguish him.
Right.
And he came on, and he was super funny.
Right.
And he didn't talk about what a big fella he was. And I
Right.
thought, man, that's a really interesting choice for him.
Yeah, I mean, and
Now, he since has, I mean,
right. Now,
it's changed.
when I started doing comedy, I didn't talk about it at all. I kind of like Ralphie, where I just talked about what's going on.
Where did you start? Did you start out in L.A.? Or?
Yeah, I started out in L.A. I was born and raised there. But see, when I would go on stage and I would talk about whatever topics I would talk about, the audience would just look at me like, does he know? Like,
Right.
Like, no one wanted to say anything because they're like, they thought that it would be like that sketch from Chappelle's show where like it was the black white supremacist, where then they tell him he's black and he starts freaking out. Like someone's gonna say, you're a dwarf, right? What? Like, I would just start freaking out. But as soon as I started telling dwarf jokes, everyone's like, "Oh, thank God he's talking about it." And it's something that people are interested in, and that they don't like, because we all have fat friends.
Yeah.
So if a fat comic doesn't talk about being fat, we're like, all right, we're cool with that, because we know what that is. We know what being overweight is. We all have fat friends, or we're fat ourselves. Dwarves, not a lot of us are out. Like, not a lot of people know little people. Not a lot of people are little people themselves, so it's like this is still a new topic for a lot of people, and they're not covering it on the shows like Little People Big World or The Littlest Couple. They ignore it too, and you're like, really? Like, you're a doctor, but like, because on the show The Littlest Couple, the woman's a doctor, and like they don't really talk. Like, it's like, dude, you're a doctor. Like, let's talk about this for a second. Like, are you using like the operation tools, or like like what's happening here? Are you using like the big boy forceps? Like, what's happening? And so like I like it when it's brought up, because there is that curiosity. Sometimes during my shows, I do Q&As. Like, I let people, like, hey, if you guys have any questions, fire them out. I'll try to answer them. I'll try to be funny. 99% of the time, the first question is, how big's your penis? Like, yeah. So, and that's okay, because then I take it out, answer, and then I'm good. I've actually done that once.
No.
Yeah.
You did the Jim Morrison.
Oh, is that the Jim Morrison?
Yeah, Jim Morrison got thrown in jail for that.
That's right. You're right. I remember that now. Yeah, it was at the Hollywood Improv, and I was saying, this guy was heckling me, and I was saying how I was going to come out there and bang his girl. And he's like, you don't have the balls to do that. I'm like, really? I don't have the balls? And I took out my balls on stage, and I dunked them in his drink. I teabagged his iced tea. It was awesome. And here's the thing about being a dwarf, is that you can do something that disgusting and nobody cares. They're just like, he's adorable. They're like, he has little balls and everything. Awesome. I love getting away with stuff.
But that it's interesting though that you said like you started out and you weren't talking about it, because you were I would guess that you're figuring out the art form before you can start to figure out how to represent yourself best on stage, and you can't not talk about that. That is the prism with which you view everything.
Sure. Well, and that's the thing, is some people tell me like, oh, well, do you tell dwarf jokes? Do you not tell dwarf jokes? It's like, well, as a dwarf, whatever I say is gonna be the little people perspective. I can't tell jokes from the perspective of a 5'8" guy. So it's like, because I was never, like, I've always been a little person. It's not like I was 5'10". I just binged on Lucky Charms, and I woke up one morning like, what happened? Like, that didn't happen. So, like, that's just my perspective.
Now, do other little people resent you for being or having the microphone, the megaphone, and sort of being the de facto voice of a people? Do they think that you don't represent?
Yeah, is there a lot of pressure with that?
Yeah. There is actually. Now Sean will tell you, we had 3 dwarfs at the show last night.
Yeah, I was trying to say goodnight to you, but you were deep in conversation. I was like, I should go. They're having a conference of some kind. You're not gonna want me to see the secret handshake.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go home.
There's 4 of them, like four dwarves. That's a convention. We're having meetings. We're plotting against you guys when the revolt is happening. The code word is Wonka. That's when we attack. But yeah. So there are some that are really cool, but then I get emails from a lot of, because there's a main Little People organization called LPA, which stands for Little People of America, and they do amazing work in many facets. So I actually support them. But they send me messages all the time, like, talk about this, push this agenda, don't say the word midget. I'm like, really? Like, why? It's a bad word. You call a dwarf a midget. It's just like calling a black person the N-word.
That needs clarification.
Yeah,
man,
midget, please. No. Like,
I would guess that it is a case-by-case basis. There are some that are okay with it, and some that not so okay with it.
Absolutely. And the ones that are not okay with it, they're the ones that, when I did a show in Detroit, actually protested me. That was awesome.
You got protested,
I got protested by little people. And I don't know if you can really call it is it really a protest if a Mini Cooper can drive up and block the entire protest? Like, if 2 Fiats park next to each other, it shuts your thing down. I don't know if that counts, but they protested me because I say the word midget, and I just thought it was hilarious, because it's like, dude, it doesn't have power over you. It's just a word. And unlike other racial slurs, mean hateful things, and they were invented because of these things. Calling a German a kraut is because they eat a lot of sauerkraut, and things like that. But like, midget doesn't have any basis in hatred. It's just like, hey, that thing's cute. It's a midget. Okay, cool. And it's that's all it is. So there's no
the argument
basis
for
of
them
hatred.
that it reduces you to a stereotype, or why do they have the LPA? Why do they have a problem with that? The use of the word?
I don't know, because they love the words dwarf and little person. And to me,
dwarf has like more of an
right. Like, you think I'm gonna walk out and like I gotta protect Snow White or something like that, right?
A fairy tale connotation to it.
I'm gonna have a battle axe and I'm gonna be like Lord of the Rings, like, it's my process, like that. Like, it's more fantastical. And little person, you don't know what you're talking about. You hear little person, you think like, oh, Chinese. You know what I mean? They're very tiny people, okay? They're very tiny people. So it's not specific. Like, you don't think of an actual dwarf when you hear that. So I don't mind any of the words. It's fine by me, because if you yell at me, F you midget, that's gonna mean the same to me if you said "F you, person of short stature." It still means you're mad at me. So I don't care, but I get it. They want to be mad at something, but I don't want to be mad at anything. Why make that word bad so you could be watching Jimmy Kimmel Live, enjoying the show, having a great time, then he says the word midget, and now you have to write a strongly worded letter? Like, it's just, no, who cares? Just let it go, laugh at it, and you're fine.
Brad Williams is at the Improv all weekend long. 412-462-5233, improv.com. Do you have time for one more?
Yeah, I got time for one more.
Quick commercial break. More with Brad Williams on DV.
Nope.
It's a DV morning show. Brad Williams is here. The frustration of being a comic who's constantly working nonstop, and yet we reward people who are just doofuses in this country.
Listen, I'm not trying to start any dwarf feuds, but Chewy on the Chelsea show, because he's like, I'm on the road 42 to 45 weeks a year, and I write jokes and I perform them, and I make sure everyone has a good time at my shows. Chewy sits in a chair and says, "Thank you, Miss Chelsea. Back up the Brinks truck." Make that man a millionaire. Former porn star, by the way.
Really?
Chewy? Yeah. There's a porn out there with Chewy in it.
No kidding.
Yeah, they've tried to keep it like under the bat, but yeah, if you Google that, don't do it at work. No. You will get fired. They're gonna walk in like, why are you Googling midget porn? Never a good thing. Privately, it's a good thing. But yeah, he did a porn. I'm in a porn as well, but I wasn't actually having sex.
Really?
Yeah, I'm in a porn movie called Operation Desert Stormy, which was back in the day, and I play a terrorist. So my face is completely covered, and I'm just wearing like a daishiki, or not a daishiki. That's African. What the hell am I talking? Turban. Yeah. And I run in, and I have to fire an AK-47 at this Stormy Daniels porn star, but I can't. There's like a ledge, so I have to jump up and fire, and then like the kickback of the gun just knocks me over, and then I'm in a conga line with a couple of porn stars. So yeah, that was my day there.
So how far along in your comedy career were you when you took that role?
Oh, about a year and a half. Listen.
Trying to amass credits.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, man.
Nothing wrong with that. As a little person, you're constantly taking jobs that you don't want. Do I own a leprechaun outfit? Yes. Because sometimes it's March and commercials come up. By the way, March is the worst month to be a little person. I hate St. Patrick's Day. Some of you love it, and that's great. Go out, drink, have a fun time. But I go out to the bars, and people just get drunk, and they stare at me, and they go, "He knows where it is." They're like, "Oh crap, this is gonna get dangerous real quick." Yeah, I don't like that. December's no picnic. That's not fun. Oh my God, I've had so many days.
That's just
stories.
you think about it. Yeah, that's the one drag is the stereotype is like in fairy tale and all of our urban lores.
Right. Oh, here's the thing: is I was at a mall around Christmas time, and this dad walks up with his kid, and he just looks at me, and there's a huge line for Santa, and he looks at me, and he just goes, "Hey, no, but son, this guy, he works for Santa too, and you can tell him what you want for Christmas." And I'm just like, I am shopping for a Snuggie, a-hole. Like, what are you doing? And like,
Daddy, why does that elf have jeans on?
Yeah, Daddy, what's true religion? Something you can't afford. So like, and he brings his kid up, and he wants for me to do the whole like elf thing, but I want to get mad, but I can't because the kid's there. And the kid's innocent, and if I get pissed and I turn into angry midget, now that kid is scarred, and like every time he watches The Wizard of Oz and the Munchkins come out, he's gonna cry. So I can't do that. So I just pause, and I'm like, you know what? Your dad's right. I'm an elf, and I tell you what, little boy, you've been very good this year. What's one thing you want more than anything? He goes, I really want an Xbox. I'm like, guess what? And I look right at the dad. You are getting an Xbox. Dad's like, oh, well, things get lost in the mail. I'm like, no. You're getting an Xbox, all right? You're getting an Xbox.
You have my word.
What else do you want? You want a bike? You're getting a bike. Guess what? I'm running around the mall like Oprah. Like I'm just handing out stuff. You get an Xbox. You get an Xbox. Everybody gets an Xbox. It was so much fun. That'll teach that dad. Don't do that.
Go see Brad Williams at the Improv this weekend, man. He is, as you've been able to hear, man, really funny guy, and really excited for all the good things that have been happening in your career. Last thing for you, like, what's the ultimate goal, man? Like, how will I know, like, right on, Brad hit it, that's what he wanted?
I want Dinklage's career.
Right? Dinklage has got it down,
Dinklage is killing it. He's on, literally, he's on Game of Thrones, and he's owning it, and he's an amazing actor. He's ridiculously talented. He's a nice guy, and I hate his guts.
I was just gonna ask you, do you resent him or
I mean, just like the common jealousy. It's just like I
more of a professional jealousy.
Yes, absolutely. And he wears suits that are custom tailored. Like that's how you know as a dwarf you've made it. When people are like lining up to make you suits, because that's hard. That's hard to do. Like. And he looks good in his suits. I put on a suit, I look like a penguin. It's not, I'm not sexy. I'm not fun. Like that's how you know a dwarf has mad game. Like I got game, and I'll tell you why. Because I have to overcome so much. When you could pick up a chick with Bob the Builder on your damn T-shirt, like that's when you know. Like I got Dora the Explorer light up shoes. I'm still getting laid. What's your excuse? You know what I mean? Like that's when you know I'm spitting hot fire.
Brad Williams, go see him this weekend, and you can catch him twice tonight, twice tomorrow. 412-462-5233. Improv.com. Dude, best of luck. It's great to see you again, and thanks for spending so much time with us.
It's always fun. Pittsburgh is an amazing city. You guys have great not only sports fans but comedy fans as well, and I always have a good time here. Let's get me to 28,000 followers on Twitter, everyone. At Funny Brad. Follow. I'll tweet jokes throughout the day. Maybe a picture you can show your friend to be like, Dwarf funny, and that's all. That's all you need. You'll have a great time. If you come see my show at the Improv, your story wins. Okay, when you go back to work, your story beats anyone else's story. All right, that's my selling point.
There you go.
So come on out,
Brad.